We begin tonight with that famous millionaire under arrest in a cold case 30 years in the making after a major twist in the case playing out on national television.
Not confessing is the #1 rule to escaping prison after committing a crime. But these 10 criminals couldn't even keep their mouths shut. So here are the top 10 times when criminals accidentally confessed. Number 10 is Ethan Couch. In June of 2013, Ethan Couch, who was 16 years old at the time, was driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs when he caused a car accident in Burleson, Texas. The crash resulted in the deaths of 4 people and left several others seriously injured. Couch's blood alcohol content was 3 times the legal limit for an adult driver, and he was also driving at an excessive speed. After Couch's trial in juvenile court, he was sentenced to probation and rehabilitation rather than jail time. It was during his probation period that the accidental confession occurred. A video surfaced on social media showing Ethan Couch playing beer pong, which involved consuming alcohol, with the caption, "Ya boy Ethan Couch violating probation." Genius. The authorities acted on this evidence, and in 2016, Couch's case was transferred to adult court and he was subsequently sentenced to serve time in jail for the probation violation. Next up is Robert Durst. Robert Durst is a wealthy real estate heir and a notable figure in several high-profile criminal cases. In 1982, Durst's wife, Kathleen McCormack Durst, disappeared under suspicious circumstances. Although her body was never found, Durst was a person of interest in her disappearance but was never actually charged. Again, he was suspected in 2 more cases but was never caught. Durst's life and the suspicions surrounding him gained significant media attention after the release of the HBO documentary series The Jinx: The Life and Deaths of Robert Durst in 2015. The series included a startling audio recording where Durst appeared to confess to multiple murder, where he said, "What the hell did I do? Kill them all, of course." Following that, Durst was arrested in 2015 in connection with the murder of Susan Berman. In 2021, he was tried and found guilty of another murder, receiving a life sentence in prison. Next up, we have the BTK killer, whose real name is Dennis Rader. He committed a series of tragic murders in Kansas between 1974 and 1991. The BTK stands for Bind, Abuse, Kill, reflecting how he treated his victims. Throughout the years, Rader had a habit of sending taunting letters to the police and local media, boasting about his crimes and leaving clues that investigators could use to identify him. In 2005, Rader sent a floppy disk to a local television station that contained metadata from a Microsoft Word document. The metadata included information about when the document was created and saved. Investigators were able to trace this metadata back to a computer at the Christ Lutheran Church, where Rader was the president of the church council. During questioning, Rader confessed to the murders in great detail, providing chilling accounts of his crimes. Thus, Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, accidentally confessed to a combination of factors, including his letters to the police and the media and the metadata on a floppy disk he sent. On August 8th of 2013, a domestic dispute occurred between Derek Medina and his wife, Jennifer Alfonso, inside their South Miami home. The argument escalated, leading to Medina allegedly shooting and killing Alfonso. After the shooting, Derek Medina took a photograph of his wife's body lying on the floor and posted it on his Facebook page with the caption, "Rip Jennifer Alfonso." Friends and Medina's Facebook page followers saw the gruesome image and alerted law enforcement. The police were quickly informed about the disturbing post. Shortly after posting the photo, Derek Medina turned himself into the South Miami Police Department, where he was taken into custody. He effectively confessed to the crime by his actions and the content of the Facebook post. At number 6, we have Mark Chopper Reed. Mark Chopper Reed, a notorious figure in Australian criminal history, had a lengthy criminal record that included offenses like armed robbery, kidnapping, and arson. His criminal activities led to extensive periods of incarceration during his adult life. While in prison, he contracted hepatitis C and later received a diagnosis of liver cancer. But in a surprising turn of events, shortly before his death, Reed agreed to a televised interview with 60 Minutes Australia. During this interview, he confessed to being responsible for the deaths of 4 individuals. What struck many as particularly unsettling was the nonchalant and relaxed manner in which Reed described the graphic details of his crimes. This interview occurred just 16 days before his passing. Next up is the Cannibal Cop case, which involves Gilberto Valle, a former New York City police officer who was arrested in 2012 for his involvement in a plot to kidnap, abuse, and eat women. Gilberto engaged in online chats on a website dedicated to discussing extreme fetishes and fantasies, including discussions of kidnapping, abusing, and cannibalizing women anonymously. In these chats, Valle went into disturbing detail about his supposed plans. He discussed specific women he knew, including friends and acquaintances, and described how he would even intend to cook and eat their body parts. Valle's wife discovered his online conversations and reported her findings to the authorities, which prompted an investigation by the FBI. The FBI obtained a search warrant for his home, and during the search, they found records of his online conversations and disturbing materials related to his fantasies, including photographs of women he knew with personal information attached. While Valle claimed that these discussions were purely fantasy and role-playing, the evidence presented by the prosecution convinced the jury otherwise. In 2016, Earl Valentine allegedly unalived his own son and left his ex-wife critically wounded. What was even more shocking than the crime itself was how Earl Valentine chose to confess. He took to social media and he used Facebook to brag about the brutal attack. In the video, Valentine accused his ex-wife of trying to tarnish his image and claimed to have shot her in retribution. Police later tracked Valentine to a motel in Columbia, South Carolina, but found that he had already taken his own life. In South Africa, there was a serial abuser who had been terrorizing the community for some time. The police were actively investigating the case, but were struggling to identify and arrest the suspect. To aid in the investigation and encourage victims to come forward, a television show dedicated to crime and justice featured a segment on the serial abuser. During the show, victims were given the opportunity to share their stories and experiences anonymously. During the airing of this segment, the serial abuser was apparently watching the show. In a surprising turn of events, the abuser sent a text message to the designated contact number. In the text message, the abuser essentially confessed to the crimes he had committed, possibly in response to the emotional and powerful stories being shared by the victims on the show. The producers immediately alerted the police to the text message they had received from the serial abuser. Law enforcement swiftly initiated an investigation to trace the origin of the message. Using phone records and other digital tracking methods, they were able to locate and identify the sender of the message, leading to the arrest of the serial abuser. At number 2, we have an autobiography confession. In the 1920s, the death of filmmaker William Desmond Taylor made headlines. A police officer arrived at his Hollywood home and discovered him dead on the floor with a gunshot wound in his back. After his murder, the nightgown of a young actress was found in his bedroom along with a love letter. It wasn't until much later that she wrote an autobiography in which she admitted that she and her mother had been at Taylor's home on the night of the murder. Her mother had previously threatened the life of another director who had made advances towards her daughter. And at number 1, we have Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper is a deeply disturbing figure who committed a series of horrifying acts. He was responsible for taking the lives of 10 people, which tragically included his own mother and paternal grandparents. During his time in prison, Kemper participated in multiple interviews, including one for the documentary Murder, No Apparent Motive, where he confessed and provided disturbingly explicit details about his crimes. Which other confessions would you guys add to this list? Let us know in the comments below if we're missing something. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. As always, thank you for watching. We really appreciate all your time, and until next time, make sure to take care, and we'll see you later.